You wake up every morning, crack a few eggs and feel good about it. And you should. Eggs genuinely are one of the most complete foods in existence. But there's a very real chance that something sitting right beside those eggs on your plate is quietly working against everything they're trying to do for you. 3 specific foods, all of them common, all of them normalized, all of them capable of undermining the egg's benefits in ways that are measurable and documented. And most people eating them have absolutely no idea. Here's why eggs matter so much in the first place. A single egg contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it what scientists classify as a complete protein source. It contains choline, a nutrient your brain relies on to produce neurotransmitters and preserve memory. It contains lutein and zeaxanthin for eye health, vitamin D, vitamin B12, selenium, and a fat profile that, when properly understood, actually supports your heart rather than threatening it. The yolk in particular is one of the most sophisticated nutritional packages found anywhere in nature. But nutrition is never just about what you put in your mouth. It's about what your body can absorb, process, and actually use. And certain food combinations don't simply reduce that capacity, they actively create problems. Inflammation, blocked absorption, insulin disruption, compounds your liver has to strain to clear. The egg becomes a different thing entirely, depending on what surrounds it. The first food that works against eggs is one almost everyone pairs with them, particularly at breakfast, without ever questioning it. Refined carbohydrates. White toast, bread made from processed flour, the kind of thing that lands on the plate next to eggs in virtually every household and every diner in the world. When you eat eggs alone, your body processes them smoothly. The protein digests slowly, blood sugar rises gently, insulin responds modestly, and the fat-soluble vitamins in the yolk, vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K, are carried across your intestinal wall efficiently because the fat in the yolk itself assists with their absorption. That is the egg functioning exactly as it should. Now put 2 slices of white toast next to it. Refined flour has been stripped of its fiber, its germ, its bran, essentially everything that would slow digestion down. What remains is almost pure starch that converts to glucose almost the moment it enters your system. Blood sugar climbs rapidly. The pancreas releases a sharp surge of insulin to manage it. And here is where the egg's nutrients get caught in the disruption. That insulin surge doesn't just handle the glucose from the bread, it shifts the entire metabolic environment your body is working within. The fats from the egg yolk, rather than being directed toward hormone production, cellular repair, and brain function, get pushed towards storage. The choline that would normally support your liver or build neurotransmitters in your brain now has to operate within a system overwhelmed by glucose management. There's also the question of glycation, a process where sugar molecules attach to proteins and fats and damage them. Eggs are protein-dense. When you pair them with a rapidly digesting carbohydrate source and create a glucose-heavy internal environment, you accelerate that glycation process. The same mechanism that ages cells, stiffens blood vessels, and dulls cognitive clarity. Done once, the impact is minor. Done every morning for years, it adds up in ways that quietly accumulate beneath the surface. The better approach is straightforward. If you want something starchy alongside your eggs, reach for slow-digesting options. Sweet potato, legumes, whole oats. These keep blood sugar and insulin far more stable. Better still, pair eggs with non-starchy vegetables. Spinach, mushrooms, tomatoes, avocado. These let the egg's full nutritional profile reach you without interference. The second food surprises people because it carries a health reputation that feels well-earned. It appears at brunch tables, in breakfast bowls, in smoothies, fruit juice, whether commercially produced or freshly squeezed in generous amounts. The issue here centers on fructose. Juice, regardless of the fruit it came from, is essentially a concentrated liquid dose of fructose, with almost all of the fiber removed. When you eat a whole piece of fruit, the fiber slows absorption, limits how quickly fructose enters the system, and keeps the liver from being overwhelmed. When you drink juice, that buffer is gone. A large hit of fructose reaches the liver very quickly, and unlike glucose, fructose doesn't distribute across the body's cells for energy. It goes almost entirely to the liver, which converts a significant portion of it directly into fat, a process called de novo lipogenesis. Now bring eggs into that picture. Eggs contain dietary fats and cholesterol that, when consumed on their own, have actually been shown to shift LDL cholesterol particles from the small, dense pattern associated with arterial damage toward a larger, more buoyant pattern that is considerably less harmful. Eggs, in a clean metabolic environment, support healthy lipid profiles. But when the liver is simultaneously processing a flood of fructose and handling the dietary fats arriving from egg yolk, triglyceride levels rise, and they rise meaningfully. Repeated over time, this pattern contributes to elevated blood triglycerides, increases the risk of fatty liver disease, and generates an inflammatory state that directly undermines what the egg was doing for your cardiovascular system. Fructose also impairs insulin sensitivity at the cellular level over time, which means the amino acids and proteins from the egg can't be shuttled efficiently into your muscle tissue for the repair and rebuilding that eggs are supposed to support. And the unsaturated fats in the yolk, including omega-3 fatty acids in pasture-raised eggs, are vulnerable to oxidation. Excess fructose increases the production of reactive oxygen species, free radicals that can damage those beneficial fats and make them harmful rather than protective. The fix is simple and requires no deprivation. Eat the whole fruit instead of drinking it, an orange instead of orange juice, an apple instead of apple juice. The fiber fundamentally changes how the sugar behaves inside you. Or drink water with your eggs, and enjoy fruit separately, earlier or later in the day. Your liver manages both far better when they're not competing for its attention at the same moment. The third food is the most serious of the three, and the most deeply embedded in breakfast culture. Processed meat, bacon, sausage, cured and smoked breakfast meats preserved with nitrates and nitrites. Bacon and eggs together feel practically timeless. They're on every hotel buffet, every weekend menu, every diner plate. That familiarity is exactly why this deserves clear attention, because the chemistry happening between these two foods when they're cooked and eaten together is not benign. When meat is cured, sodium nitrite is added as a preservative. On its own, that isn't the central concern. The concern is what happens to nitrites under high heat and during digestion. Nitrites react with amino acids, specifically with compounds called amines, to produce nitrosamines, which the World Health Organization classifies as probable human carcinogens, linked in substantial research to colorectal, stomach, and pancreatic cancer. Now consider that eggs are among the most amino acid-dense foods available. When you cook bacon alongside eggs in the same pan at high heat, the amino acids from the egg come into direct contact with nitrite compounds from the meat. That contact, under those conditions, measurably accelerates nitrosamine formation beyond what would occur if either food were cooked and consumed separately. The egg's own protein density essentially amplifies the production of a harmful compound. This isn't theoretical. It has been demonstrated in research examining nitrite-containing meats cooked alongside high-protein foods. Beyond nitrosamines, processed meats arrive at the plate already loaded with advanced glycation end products from curing and smoking, and cooking them again at high heat generates more. Pair that with fried eggs cooked in the same high-heat environment, and you're stacking one burden on another. These compounds accumulate in tissue, cross-link proteins, stiffen blood vessels, and drive the chronic low-grade inflammation at the core of metabolic disease and accelerated aging. Processed meats also deliver a significant amount of heme iron, which at excessive levels generates hydroxyl radicals, among the most destructive free radicals in human biochemistry. They damage DNA, oxidize LDL cholesterol, and overwhelm antioxidant systems. Eggs contain selenium, a critical component of one of the body's primary antioxidant enzymes. Under normal conditions, that selenium helps protect against oxidative damage. But next to processed meat, it gets spent managing the oxidative burden the bacon created in the first place. The egg's protective capacity is consumed cleaning up after its breakfast companion. None of this means meat and eggs can't coexist on the same plate. Unprocessed meat, grilled chicken, uncured turkey, smoked salmon without added preservatives, doesn't carry the nitrite load, doesn't generate nitrosamines with the egg's amino acids, and doesn't flood the body with the same oxidative and inflammatory burden. Clean protein alongside eggs, cooked at moderate heat, protects everything the egg offers rather than dismantling it. Eggs are genuinely extraordinary food. The science on this has only grown clearer and more consistent over time. They support brain function, protect vision, build and repair tissue, provide fat-soluble vitamins the immune and hormonal systems depend on, and they do all of this without spiking blood sugar or stressing the liver when they're eaten in the right context. Context is the variable that changes everything. Refined carbohydrates redirect the egg's nutrients into fat storage through insulin. Fruit juice burdens the liver with fructose, raises triglycerides, and drives oxidative stress that damages the egg's beneficial fats. Processed meats combine with the egg's amino acids to produce carcinogenic compounds, load the body with glycation products, and exhaust the very antioxidant capacity the egg was contributing. Eggs with vegetables, eggs with avocado, eggs with whole, unprocessed protein and real food. That is the context in which an egg delivers everything it's capable of. Not a complicated protocol, not an expensive intervention, just a clearer understanding of what happens inside the body when you put certain things together, and the willingness to make a slightly different choice. The egg has always been one of nature's most complete and generous foods. What you place beside it determines whether that generosity actually reaches you.